Ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section and in the live chat and during the upload in the comment section below, answer this question. When did it become okay? When did it become normalized? Because we know that morally superior, oftentimes apoplectic, but always morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats never wanted to normalize Trump's personality. When did it become acceptable or normalized to leave Americans behind? When? When was that normal? When was that accepted? There have been POWs, yes, that unfortunately, there have been moments in time where, unfortunately, we've left Americans behind, but it's never acceptable. It's never condoned. It's never something that people just gloss over. When was it normalized? When was it acceptable? When was it something that was okay? When did we as a country become so divided that half the country doesn't care because it might help Trump or Republicans? This is more than Trump's personality, wonderful, apoplectic, liberal Democrats. This is more than Facebook ads. This is now the State Department, and hit subscribe to this channel right now. Tell your friends about this channel. And to my super chat, I can't do this without you, so if you want to talk about something or, give your thought process or viewpoint or opinion or ask a question regarding this catastrophe on the super chat, that'll be greatly appreciated. But when did it become okay? The State Department we have leaked emails now that show the State Department is preventing flights from leaving Afghanistan. Why? Why is this happening? Daily Mail leaked emails show State Department refused to greenlight Afghan evacuation planes. I can tell you why. It's pure public relations. They said August 31st. It was an arbitrary date. They have no clue what's going on. They have apps. And Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much. Two amazing moderators. They have absolutely no clue what's going on. They have no strategy. They have no idea of any vision for the future, in addition to Americans left behind and Afghans left behind. I mean, the most important is the human cost. Human beings who have been left behind. But now you have billions upon billions in weaponry. The best weaponry possible that we've left for our adversaries. And I have no clue, I don't understand. I have no clue why half the country, social media, the Democratic Party, where's Major League Baseball taking a stand on this? Hello? Major League Baseball, when are you going to take a stand on this? Because we know that you pander. We know that you've pandered to the Democratic Party. State Department obstruction of private rescue flights from Afghanistan revealed in leaked email. State Department will not provide an approval of charter flights from Afghanistan, leaked email reveals. Why not? Where's the support among corporations to take a moral stand? Where's Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball? Why doesn't he, take some kind of stand? He moved his All-Star game. He moved Major League Baseball's All-Star game from Georgia to Colorado simply because of a constitutional law. J-Spot 51. I spelled something wrong. It didn't work. That's true. That's true. Actually, the country of Denmark banned a certain product we won't get into. Not going to get into that. Most people don't even know that. Public record. The public record, we live in... Look, when I had encyclopedias growing up, I was more educated and knowledgeable, and when I had like a world almanac or encyclopedias, and there was there were three ABC, NBC, CBS, and maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 cable stations, maybe. I had a better grasp of what was going on the planet than most people in the world now, because of social media is a giant lie by omission. How many Americans know that we have hundreds of people? James Scully! James Scully, thank you so very much. To my UK viewers, thank you. J-Spot, thanks as always. James Scully, starting it off with J-Spot, thanks as always. Thank you, sir. When did it become acceptable, James? When did it become normalized? When was it okay to leave Americans behind? To leave your own citizens behind? To leave them stranded? And Saki says, well, don't use the word stranded. How about extended vacation? Extended vacation, God forbid, where your head might be removed from your body, God forbid. For the people who want to leave? Oh, really, public relations obsessed Democrat who is completely clueless yet highly educated and very polished? For the people who want to leave, we're going to get them out. Oh, you mean they actually stayed because they don't want to leave? Another lie by omission. You know very well they wanted to leave. You're painting it as if they wanted to stay, like a couple days more in Vegas. Or, gosh, we're having such a good time in Hawaii, 1 week more. There are people trying desperately to leave. We have left Americans behind, and they're stranded there. They've almost been deserted. We have one interpreter who saved Biden's life, and Biden gave lists of Americans to the T-Ban. Who do you think maybe they kept it away from ISK and AQ and every other insane organization? And we've given them billions upon billions, night vision goggles, armored vehicles, Black Hawk helicopters, 600,000 light arms. 600,000! And it's radio silence. It is unbelievable. If you didn't spoon feed them every piece of information on the left, if you didn't give them little helpings of information, they would never know anything. Ben D, Goodman 2024, thank you, Ben D. Ben D, thank you. Thank you, Ben D. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable the manner in which media has completely swept this under the rug. That's why, tell your friends about this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do 3 live streams every day. An early live stream around 2, a live stream around 7, 6:37. Exactly, the silence ain't golden, exactly. And then a live stream later this evening. But State Department obstruction of private rescue flights from Afghanistan revealed in leaked email. State Department, quote, will not provide an approval of charter flights from Afghanistan, leaked emails reveal. The Biden administration's delaying of private evacuation efforts has been a widespread source of frustration, infuriating rescue organizers and even a prominent Democratic senator. No independent charters are allowed to land. Okay, so you have the State Department that completely and utterly botched an evacuation that should have started in January. An evacuation should have started in January. Completely dropped the ball. Completely dropped the ball. And instead of simply saying, okay, you know what? We arbitrarily decided on an August 31st date. So half the country could convince themselves that we've ended the book called Afghanistan. It was the final chapter. The book ended on page August 31st. Page August 31st, you could put the book down, and that's it. Any Americans left behind, any Afghans left behind, any rescue dogs or rescue animals left behind, any people who might suffer a nightmarish fate, you know what? It's the book has ended. The film has ended. It's public relations 101. Give them a date that they can utilize in their brain. Give them a date that they can say, well, you know, it already ended. And make it as difficult as possible, because if God forbid, one of the evacuation flights don't work out, the State Department does not want that on their little, they don't want that on their already horrendous track record. So they want to mitigate as much, they want to control as much of the public relations disaster as possible. They want to control as much of the public relations disaster as possible. They do not want, ladies and gentlemen, they do not want even Americans to leave if it hurts them in terms of media or public relations. Paul, hello. They care about media. They care about perception. That's why when Biden, who should be impeached numerous times already from this, that's why when Biden talked about the public relations element of all of this, he focused on perception, the perception of others. You should never in life focus on the perception or the opinion or the viewpoint of others, or what they think of you, if you know what you're doing is important, or you're being true to yourself, or you know you're swimming up the stream, you're going against the mainstream narrative. As long as you're thinking logically and rationally, and you're not being duped or deceived, and you've done your homework, then you're doing good. You shouldn't care what anyone thinks. When I was on the left, the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, I know that like 50 people have already tuned out of the chat now, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, I got these hit pieces from journalists, quote-unquote journalists, who obsessed over me. Why? Because I wasn't, my articles were going viral in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon, and they couldn't stand it. So instead of saying, hey, you know what, Clinton's going to win in a landslide, I'll debate you, it was, oh, we oppose this person, so let's disparage him or mock him or denigrate him, and I didn't care. If the people mocking you or trying to put you down are the biggest imbeciles and buffoons on the planet, who cares what they think? So initially I was like, oh my God, why is this happening? Then I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic because they're inadvertently helping me. But most importantly, I don't care what they think. They're not even worthy of my not only attention, but their thoughts about me are irrelevant because they're irrelevant. The left works through peer pressure, through public relations. If it's not on CNN or MSNBC, or if their friends aren't talking about how mean Trump is, then it doesn't exist. Look, I feel sorry for Biden. I feel sorry for mashed potato brains. I feel sorry for the demon that has possessed him. Just joking. Obviously, that's a joke. I don't even mean that. You look at mashed potato brains, you want him just to have his milk and cookies, get to bed and relax. Okay, too much stress, no good. Okay, but you look at the way they don't care. Do you understand? If Trump said that somebody was fat, let's say Twitter allowed Trump back on, which I hope it never does, but you watch, they probably will. And that would be the worst thing ever for Trump. He should never get back on Twitter. But if he called somebody fat, oh my God, it would be the end of the world. We have hundreds of Americans left behind. Hundreds of Americans. According to the Daily Mail, we have hundreds of Americans stranded. U.S. military admits several hundred Americans who wanted to leave Afghanistan are stranded after the country's exit. We gave billions upon billions of dollars. $600,000 light arms, 2,000 armored vehicles, including Black Hawk helicopters. It's unbelievable. 600,000 rifles. 600,000. Okay? And if the rebuttal is, oh, they would have purchased it anyway. Okay, they would have had to purchase. First of all, they don't have the money to purchase billions of dollars. They don't have billions of dollars to throw around. $28 billion, one estimate is. And then you get the fact check. Fact check. It's always, the fact checks make them look so horrible. Because, like I did last night, I did a segment on Reuters actually has a fact check. No, there wasn't a demon. There wasn't a demonic presence. There wasn't a demon or evil spirit in Biden's speech to Congress. Fact check. We rate evil demonic spirit false. Misinformation is tearing apart this country. Really, Reuters? Did you set the record straight on evil demonic spirits? Yeah. Fact check. Fact check. That's an actual Reuters article. It's in my segment yesterday. Taliban has billions in U.S. weapon, including Blackhawks and 600,000 rifles. So we have hundreds and hundreds of Americans left behind. We have hundreds of Americans left behind. $28 billion in weaponry. We are at our weakest point. We are at our weakest point. And I don't know. We are descending into and I should say, your life, your health, your happiness. Tell people you love them, even if they disagree with you politically. Don't let politics get in the way of anything in your life. Stay away from people who are deranged over politics, or don't talk politics to them, I should say. But tell people you love them. You know, focus on happiness, joy, love, life, success, health, prosperity, happiness, because our country is going downhill. We're in a downhill spiral, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Maybe after 2022, when Republicans can serve as an actual political party without turncoats and the most inept, weak, groveling. They grovel at the feet of the Democratic Party. They grovel. We might disagree on policy, but we both dislike Trump's mean tweets. You vote. Kinzinger and Cheney are the biggest actors of all time. They voted alongside Trump 90% of the time in Congress. That's according to 538. And you have you don't have you can't blame Trump for losing the Senate because they investigated a Republican president for 4 years. What do you expect? What on earth do you expect? You investigate a Republican president. Republicans investigated a Republican president. Okay? Republicans investigated a Republican president. So what on earth do you expect? When is the last time Democrats investigated or probed a Democratic president? It's not going to happen. Even if they're wrong, like Biden's emails, Hunter's email, you think they care? Joe Biden could leave $30 billion in weaponry, and they still wouldn't investigate him. Oh, that's right, he did. Joe Biden has left hundreds of Americans behind, stranded, deserted behind, and the Democrats wouldn't investigate him. Oh, that's right, he did, and they didn't. You're looking at the fall of our country from the world stage. And that's not hyperbole. They were saying that with Trump. Republicans were saying that with President Obama. It wasn't the case. Republicans with President Obama, even though you look at his track record, it was not good in terms of foreign policy. We still were atop the world stage. We were still atop the world stage under President Obama. We were definitely atop the world stage with Trump. Like, what do I care if Trudeau or Macron or anyone, David Cameron, what do I care if they didn't like his personality? Who cares? Who cares? Everyone respected us as a country that could get things done. They didn't. Guess what? The people who were laughing at Trump, there were an equal number of people in those countries that admired him. Nobody on the planet, I repeat, nobody on this planet Earth admires Biden. Not even the people who voted for him to make him the most popular candidate of all time. Not one person. Do you think that people admire mashed potato brains? Do you think that people, is there anyone on the planet that says, I admire Trump for a lot of reasons. Okay, I admire what President Obama was able to do initially to break a barrier in our country's history. I do admire that. I think that is that's a profound achievement. I don't admire anything with George W. Bush. Maybe the initial, his, initial, not military involvement, because I think he was the worst president of all time, even worse than Biden. But initially, the first couple of weeks after September in 2001, he did rally the country. Now, eventually he rallied the country into never-ending counterinsurgency wars. But at least there was some leadership there, even though I think he was the worst president of all time. But what do you admire of Biden? Is there anything? What did he do in his past? What achievement? Libya? Hunter? And his emails and 10% for the big man? What? I want to know. He's the most popular president or most popular candidate of all time. Tell me what this man is known for, aside from bumbling, stumbling, incoherent, slurring his speech, and then abruptly going into this frightening, bizarre whisper. Pay them more. They're muting his microphone. Everyone on the planet. Do you think that Putin doesn't know what's going on? Do you think that these people like Putin and Xi, they would run rings around Biden? They wouldn't run rings around Trump. I'm not a fan of President Obama's foreign policy or a lot of the things that he did, going after journalists. Lots of things he did the Senate report under President Obama's administration was worse than anything that took place under Trump's administration. And President Obama destroyed a country in Libya, turned it into a failed state where people are being bought and sold. That's not hyperbole. Everybody knows that. That's in the USA Today. This is well documented. Not just foreign affairs. I mean, there's so much. It's well documented what took place during Obama's administration. But guess what? He was a leader. Trump was a leader. Bush, I think, was the worst president of all time. He was a leader, though. Bill Clinton. Oh, finally, he's saying something nice about me. Go on. Bill Clinton. Yeah, keep it coming. Don't stop now. Bill Clinton was a leader. He led with his you-know-what, but he was a leader. You can look at every president, in American history, very few you could say aren't real leaders. Most have led the country. They might have led the country in the wrong direction, but they were leaders. Mashed potato is not a leader. Mashed potato is mashed potato brains. He's not leading. He doesn't lead. The man doesn't know what leadership is. And it's not like JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis. JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis he opposed his, sorry about the buffering, ladies and gentlemen. His advisors were telling him to invade Cuba, and he said, no, not going to do it because the Bay of Pigs was a fiasco. And his advisors, advised him on the Bay of Pigs. So JFK had learned a lesson. Okay, and the Cuban Missile Crisis eventually worked out, in terms of not leading to a nuclear annihilation. Mashed potato brains does not have any leadership skills. He's not a leader. He doesn't care. He doesn't know what's going on at all. There doesn't need to be a resistance. Like the second Trump was inaugurated, there was a resistance of people who were apoplectic, morally superior, who cared more about words than Americans left behind. The same left that said Trump worked with Putin is the same left that doesn't care that Americans are stranded in a nightmarish dystopian hellscape. But there was a resistance to Trump because they knew Trump was capable. You don't resist something that you don't respect. Deep down, they respected Trump enough to despise him with every fiber of their being. They never respected Bernie Sanders. They cheated him. They knew that he would go back. Okay, can I have thank you, ma'am. May I have another? And another. Sorry about the buffering, ladies and gentlemen. You have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, why is this taking place? It's because we do not have any leadership. We are being led by a consensus of highly educated experts who are complete buffoons and imbeciles, but they're polished and highly educated. There's zero leadership. There's zero vision. And now you have the State Department, because of public relations, that is preventing flights from leaving Afghanistan because they want to make sure that nothing goes wrong, that they want to make sure that media has forgotten about this story. And if they can prolong every flight to make sure that, they would rather not risk a flight not working out, because then they would be blamed, then just try their best to get everyone out using any means necessary. They care more about, look, you got to understand the same thing you see with treatments for you know what. They don't care if certain people are saved. They would rather people lose their lives. They would rather people, they would much rather have people suffer than give Trump a public relations victory. That's why, like, if Trump or Republicans say, hey, this could help save you, 30 studies, oh my God, media. But if you're wrong, Senator Rand. If he says jump, they say how high, my God almighty. And that ain't going to last, too. He'll get the Andrew Cuomo treatment eventually. I wrote about that in the Jerusalem Post. Oh, he'll get the Andrew Cuomo. He'll get the Juicy Smollett. He's already Juicy Smollett himself. When did it become okay? When did it become okay to leave Americans? And you have to ask yourself, if you are an American trying to leave right now, you're an American trying to leave right now, one of the most horrible places on the planet. Do you have any backing? Do you have any backing? Do you have any support at home? Do you have any backing or support at home? Do you have anyone helping you? Is Biden's administration working with Prime Minister Khan of Pakistan? Are they working with neighboring countries? Why aren't they working with neighboring countries? Why don't they have a public diplomatic effort to work with neighboring countries? Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. Why don't they work with these countries? It's Biden and Democrats who are so into multilateral organizations. Like, these are bureaucratic organizations. They love bureaucracies because they live by bureaucracy, so they can manipulate. A bureaucracy exists to try to promote efficiency. But what Democrats have done is they have manipulated bureaucracies, both at home and around the world, or they have twisted the messages from these bureaucracies to suit their own political purposes. So when they say, well, this bureaucracy, this global bureaucracy says this, so what? Who cares? Who cares? This government agency says this, so what? You think you know more than them? Yeah, well, you think you know more than the people who promoted WMD? Well, that's different. No, it's not. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the one country that we should be talking to publicly is Pakistan. That's the one country we should be talking to. That's the one country that we should be asking for help when we give them funding. We should be asking them publicly in a diplomatic manner for help. Why aren't we asking them for help? Why aren't we asking them for help? We should be asking them for help. I mean, it's not rocket science. Even mashed potato brains can understand that. Larry, With all due respect, HA, you're missing the spectacle of another row of ribbons on these powder prince generals for this debacle and Purple Hearts. Larry, thank you. I mean, thank you, Larry. I know that they want, I don't know, like, they want the public relations rewards, you know. I agree with you on that, Larry. Larry, I agree with you on that. But you have all of these, like, Navy SEALs, and you have all of these veterans, and you have all of these. You have the Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. He's like a national hero, this man. I mean, you had people who came out of the woodwork from the Department of Defense about Trump's bullying. That's not even, Trump's bullying is not national security. You could say every president has bullied people within the federal government or the executive branch. Every single president. LBJ was known for that. You know, it's like you have Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, and I'm not even going to list the two people who came out of the woodwork with Trump to get him impeached. But he was impeached over nonsense. Biden is corrupt. He's also inept. He didn't get $10 million from speaking engagements. He can't even speak properly. He got millions of dollars because he hooks up his son and then his son hooks him up. That's obvious. Char, thank you. This whole thing is terrible. This whole thing is absolutely terrible, and there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. Media does have control of the narrative, like barely. I'll give them that. If you watch this channel, you watch other channels, you will get the truth about what's taking place, or you will get at least information that, you know, the MSNBC, CNN, and ABC and NBC and CBS are not really telling you. Okay, but they have control of the narrative, unfortunately. They have control of the narrative. Unfortunately. No, look, you got to give it up to them. They are very good at controlling the pace, or, you know, they're very good at deciding the level, or controlling the level of emotions that are elicited from a certain story. So when they want to if they actually reported on what was going on, the entire country. Larry! Exactly. Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, exactly. You have a situation where, do you think the country is going to be, like, your life should be better off? Everyone here, everyone watching, your life, you should be stronger, happier, wealthier next year, the year after. Every year you should advance in terms of joy and laughter and love and happiness. I don't want to get too negative. I'm talking about our country. I'm not talking about you. You should be happy, full of love and life. And every day, every month, every year, achieve more and be happier and, you know, more joyful. But our country is going to you-know-where in a handbasket really quickly. This is bad. And I think that things are going to get much worse until 2022, hopefully. Republicans can hopefully not investigate their own president again. Or side with Democrats on everything and actually show an opposition party. We need something to prevent this continual slide, this spiral. We're spiraling downwards. We are spiraling downwards, ladies and gentlemen, as a country. And it's not about Trump's tweets. It's not about his personality. It was never about Facebook ads. These are irrational, absurd things that they focused on because they were mortified that Clinton lost to Trump, and I said that she would. I was one of the few people on the left to say that she would. Actually, I might have been the only person on the left to say that she would. I don't know who else was saying that on the left. Everybody else was regurgitating the same nauseating party line. I don't see the country doing better in the next year, either economically or in terms of foreign policy. Tell me if you think the country is going to do better or worse. I don't see us doing better. I want us to do better. I hope Biden can turn it around, okay? Because I don't want people to suffer economically. People have, you have to understand, they say that Republicans vote against their interests. It was Democrats throughout this country who are suffering economically, who voted against their interests. A little little breadcrumbs in terms of a stimulus check when you're prevented from working is not helping you. It just feeds into Bernie Sanders' and AOC's endless complaints. Oh, the billionaire class. Oh, this is unfair. You're making it unfair. You're not allowing people to work. You're not opposing your own political side when they tank the economy for safety. It didn't work. The draconian steps did not work. The health crisis we had affected primarily, almost entirely, the oldest and most unhealthy people within the country. God bless them. Policies should have been tailored to make sure those people are safe. You don't tank the entire, and I don't care if other countries were doing it. Why would you give your future to a bureaucracy that cares more about covering its rear end? You have given the future of the country and of individuals around this country. You have given our future to government organizations and to bureaucracies that are not even located in this country, who are always wrong. Vegan life, thank you. So it's why would, I don't get that. I don't understand how there's more outrage towards Trump's personality. And it just goes to show you how self-centered and egotistical they are. We have left and stranded Americans. We have stranded Americans behind. Left them stranded. We have left them stranded, deserted, and where is the outrage? Where is the outrage? Where is Biden, asking Pakistan to help us? Because that's what has to happen. Or Turkmenistan, or Uzbekistan, or Tajikistan. These are neighboring countries to Afghanistan. Anybody can look at the map, even mashed potato brain Biden. And then you have Blinken. They're using the T-band to still get Americans out. Why would you do that? You have no idea the level of graft. We have no idea the level of corruption. You're using our adversaries to help us get Americans out. We should never have given a timeline. You should have said, look, we will take as long as we need to get Americans out. We will take as long as we need. If it goes into September or October, so be it. We need to get every American out. You give an arbitrary date, and then 13 American lives are lost. It was complete havoc and chaos and mayhem. Complete and utter havoc, chaos, and mayhem. And it's you deal with all these you're dealing with all of these things that have nothing to do with national security. They have nothing to do with national security. They've been focusing on things that have absolutely nothing to do with national security. It's just unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. And the question is like, what will be next? What will be next? What will be next when it comes to another catastrophe? David, hello. What will be next if China, God forbid, invades Taiwan? Then what happens? Then what do we do? I mean, you gotta ask yourself, like, what do we do if China invades Taiwan? What do we do if Putin? They spent 4 years on Putin. Oh my God, he was the biggest threat. Then you hardly hear about him now. I don't know. When will people understand that the experts they cite are just part of a public relations machine? They don't have a monopoly on expert thought. They have experts that agree with them, and then they say all the experts agree with us, which is a lie by omission, because it's actually just a lie. Because there are just as many experts who disagree with them, but those people are marginalized or discouraged from actually voicing and opposing thought. They might face social media algorithms. They might face economic retribution. They might have their reputations tarnished. But you better believe, like, the Democratic public relations monstrosity is so easily dismantled. It's not even... Whoa, look at the New York Times. Another failed presidency at hand. Whoa. One of the rare, well, if they're trying to put Trump into this, I disagree. This is the definition of a failed presidency. The New York Times would never publish this unless there was enough of this type of sentiment, which obviously everybody has. Another failed presidency at hand. Wow. Even the New York Times. A2 New York Times. Actually, they're right. They're right. Or this person is right. She Who Rides with Dolls, hello! Recite Psalm 91. It worked for David. It'll work for you. And if you have faith in God, what doesn't destroy you makes us stronger, dolls. Thank you. Thank you so very much, She Who Rides with Dolls. Thank you. Thank you. Greatly, greatly appreciated, as always. Thank you, She Who Rides with Dolls. Thank you. I think that we will, She Who Rides with Dolls and everybody here, thank you so very much, as always. I think that, greatly appreciate, thank you. I think that, I think ultimately we will survive, and ultimately we'll get through this. I haven't given up on the country. I think that we'll get through this as a country. I think, however, that Democrats will defend anything. When they were setting up and framing Trump over the absurd... Okay, it's not national security. Facebook ads and Trump working with Russia was fabricated. Just like the Gulf of Tonkin and WMD. These are fabricated things. That was the brainchild of maniacs and propagandists and political operatives in our wonderful the highest levels like Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan. They never talked. Notice how, where is James Clapper? Where's John O'Brien? Where was John O'Brien the past 4 years talking about Afghanistan? Saying, warning us since he was so smart and so intelligent. He was so into the intelligence. Where was the intelligence community on this? Oh, they were busy just trying to set up and frame Trump. You realize the most important thing to the Democratic Party is trying to go after anyone close to Trump? Because they can't get him. They lied through their teeth about Trump being a BRX-95 hello. They said that Trump was a Russian operative. They lied through their teeth. And they said, well, he was a criminal who had so many crimes within his tax returns. Well, they couldn't find anything. So, look, you can only accuse somebody so long without the accusations becoming meaningless. If I continue, you couldn't have a relationship. Imagine. Where did you put the remote control, honey? Oh, you hid the remote with our Russian neighbor. Can't believe you. Impeach significant other. You couldn't have a relationship. And thank you, She Rides with Dolls. Thank you. You couldn't have a relationship with somebody acting like Democrats. And Republicans, look, the never Trump Republicans are just the same. It's like they worship bureaucracy. They worship the experts that agree with them. Or I should say, they manipulate the notion that experts agree with them. Not all the experts agree with them. There should be a healthy debate and dialogue on every topic. But there can't be because the social media companies are run by very liberal Democratic loyalists. So what happens is that Democratic senators will complain, this is misinformation, this misinformation is hurting people's lives, and so then you actually get misinformation. When you have a monopoly on thought, that's the definition of misinformation. You have a monopoly on a media narrative, that's the definition of misinformation. You're only allowing one viewpoint. A viewpoint that is filtered through Wikipedia and government agencies and CNN or the Washington Post and the New York Times. Half the country's reality is filtered through, like a coffee filtered through the sensibilities of liberal Democrats. Their sensibilities, not their sense of right and wrong. Their sensibilities. What they think is just, what they think is moral. Not what is just and moral. What they think is just and moral. To bolster the absurd notion that they're morally superior. Bendy! Can we send the Dems to Bendy! Bendy, thank you. Ben D, thank you so very, very much, as always. So listen to this. This is interesting. Another failed presidency at hand. Instead, Biden has become the emblem of the hour, headstrong but shaky. He's not even headstrong. Ambitious but inept. He's not ambitious at all. He is he's barely able to make out a sentence. He seems to be the last person in America to realize that whatever the theoretical merits of the decision to withdraw our remaining troops from Afghanistan, the military and intelligence assumptions on which it was built were deeply flawed. No, that's not true at all. We had to leave. It's the manner in which we left. The manner in which that was a national humiliation and moral betrayal, and the timing was catastrophic. Well, yeah, look, we had the Doha Agreement where we had and Ben D, thank you. We had the Doha Agreement where where you have May 1st, we should have been already out. That's including, and if the Afghan military had folded prior, then all bets were off. Trump and Pompeo wouldn't have left billions and billions and billions in weaponry. But they definitely, most importantly, wouldn't have left Americans behind, because guess what? The media would have taken them to task. All the same people who don't want to touch the topic would be talking about it because it's Trump. You have to understand, my mind, your mind, as supporters of President Trump, or, people who voted for Trump, we don't care. I don't care about what Biden does or says. It's completely irrelevant to me because he's an absolute failure. So I just want what's good for the country. And if I see him failing, if I see him engaging in another catastrophic foreign policy debacle of epic proportions, I say this is bad. This is horrible. But I don't care, if he slurs his speech or if he says something ridiculous. It's not really, it doesn't bother me. They obsess over Trump. Everything is filtered through Trump's orange spray tan. Everything is, their entire lives revolve around Trump. The left, the entire lives of the left revolve around Trump. That's all they care about. Haha, Joe Banana, hello. And so, you have a situation where things are only going to get worse, unfortunately. And I don't say this with glee, because you got to understand how things worked. You got to understand how things worked. With Trump, they focused on his personality and they sensationalized everything. With Biden, they cover up everything. And here and there, the cracks in the public relations armor, everybody knows this, okay? So everyone knows this. Everyone can see what's taking place. So even the New York Times is another failed presidency at hand. No, there's you got to ask though, are we heading for a better time? Are things getting better? They're not getting better. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. And you look at Trump's presidency and they gleefully tanked their economies. They made fun of anyone that lost their life who didn't listen to them. Meanwhile, there were hundreds of thousands who did everything they were supposed to do and still lost their lives. But that's the way Democrats work. Then they say Trump is a bully. You've never seen more petulant and malicious bullies in your life than on the left. I know, I've seen them. They couldn't bully me. They tried to, but I didn't care what they thought. That's how you look. If you look at your detractor or critic, and they're the biggest buffoon and imbecile on the planet, and they're people who, are the biggest hypocrites, they'll allow anything to be done to them without, responding. As long as they're part of a cult. If these people are disparaging you, you should probably thank God that they're not complimenting you. Because a compliment for them would be the biggest insult. If they're disparaging you, if they're going against you, that's a good thing. I've heard this nonsense. I oppose you. Good. I'm glad you oppose me. You're on the wrong side. You don't know. I've had people say you're on the wrong side of history. These people don't know enough about history to even think. Look at the history that they're a part of now. This will be known as one of the worst chapters in American foreign policy history. It is already written in stone. Trump presided over foreign policy successes. Absolute, like being the first president to step foot in North Korea is a success. You can disagree or agree with the policy, but it's still something, and it's an achievement. No president was ever able to do that. You can look at the Doha Agreement, and you could say that is a foreign policy success. The way it was implemented, it was a catastrophe. So it's like this is already written in stone. Like this was already one of the worst chapters in American history. We already see it for what it is. We already see this as one of the worst chapters in American history. And, you know, I don't know if things get better from here on out. The economy is not doing well. I don't know what will drive economic growth. GDP forecast decreased. That's fantastic. We have shortages now. This is like Jimmy Carter. This is like worse than Jimmy Carter. An economy that was expected to grow at a sizzling 7% annual pace is now expected to expand at a more modest 3 to 3.5% clip. This is, by the way, mind you, this is a year after we tanked the entire economy. This is a year after we tanked the entire economy. So that is unbelievable. We are not growing as an economy. Our foreign policy stinks. The entire planet knows we're not led by anyone. I don't know. Usually, at least Bush had, Darth Vader, Cheney behind him doing all the horrendous things. You could say that Bush was led by, two maniacs in Cheney and Rumsfeld. But I don't even know who Biden's led by. Bumbling Blinken? I don't know. I have no clue. Jake Sullivan? I don't know who's worse. Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, or Bumbling Blinken, the Attorney General. These people are completely inept. But you better believe if they went to a Beverly Hills party or a DC party or a Manhattan party, oh my God, they would be welcomed. Oh yes, they would be welcomed with open arms. That's the Secretary of State. Actually, they probably, you know what? They actually people wouldn't know who they were. If Anthony Blinken sat next to you at a diner, you would have no clue who he was. Same with Jake Sullivan. Same with all of his inept administration. You would have no clue who he was, who they were. Okay? You'd have no clue at all. If Biden sat next to you and he didn't have Secret Service and he was wearing glasses, you would think he looked like Whitey Bulger or something. You'd have no clue who he was. You would have no clue, who he was, really. He just looks like an old person that, you'd have no clue. But if at that party they were, oh, that's the Secretary of State. Oh my God! Then they would embrace, I mean, Blinken is defending the T-ban now. Oh no, the T-ban is not bumbling Blinken. Let's see, this guy's hilarious. You look at him; he looks like. He looks like your ex-wife's unemployed husband. This man looks like... He looks like a... He looks like an unhappy sales manager at a used car lot. Have you seen this? Look at this man. Have you seen this man speak? Everyone has this deer in the headlights look. Biden's entire administration looks like this. They're all like stunned. Stunned. He looks like cornflakes. They all have the same really sad look, like they're really frightened and they don't know what to do. And they're like waiting for media. They're waiting for their public relations. Like the best thing about Trump is he didn't care what anyone thought. And that enraged them. The worst thing you can do, the best thing that was ever said about me was from one apoplectic quote-unquote journalist who said, there's no way to shame H.A. Goodman. You know, there really isn't. Because you have to look at who's trying to shame you. These people have no shame themselves. And they're the ones who should be embarrassed. But these people like Blinken and Psaki and they're all, and Sullivan, they're all like, and then the generals too. We went in like 20 years or 30 years from Schwarzkopf to these generals. Not that, you know, who am I to say anything? I'm not a veteran or, you know, but like we went from, you know, I don't know. It's a very different, like, what did he say, Millie? He's like, oh, I want to understand this social theory. Like, why? Who cares? Who cares? Why would that be important to you? I want to understand this theory about discontent. Who cares? Why would that be important to you? What on earth does that have to do with the military? It has nothing to do with it. You think that generals in China or Russia is like, you know, I want to understand. I'm reading Robin DiAngelo. You think Russian generals are reading Robin DiAngelo? Or generals in China? You think Z is giving them like books on different social theories? They're reading Sun Tzu. They're reading like Machiavelli. They're reading, you know, they're reading books on strategy and how to deceive and manipulate and conquer or defeat your opponent. Not this nonsense. We have like, this is like everything is upside down. So if like you grew up even in the 80s and 90s, like, I feel I have more in common, I feel like. I'm in my 40s, but I feel like I have more in common with an 80-year-old than I do with even a 30-year-old morally superior liberal Democrat. You know, these people live in, they have a very insulated, warm, cozy bubble where Trump was a despot. It was like, and you could, it was so absurd. I'd be like, what are you talking about? You know anything about history? And they would make absurd, like, moral equivalencies that even Yad Vashem had to refute. I wrote an opinion in the Jerusalem Post on this. AOC should never talk about that subject. But then you had, like, pundits. I won't even bring up their names. But you had pundits like regurgitating the nonsense from AOC and others about holding facilities being referred to as a certain type of atrocity in world history. And it's like they're so clueless, it's unbelievable. They're so, like, they're so clueless. You have this situation, ladies and gentlemen, where like you have a situation where things are like you don't know if things are going to get worse or if things are going to get better. Actually, you kind of feel things are going to get worse. So, there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. It doesn't look like there's any end in sight in terms of, in terms of things getting better. It just doesn't look like that. It just does not look like that. Luke St. Martin, hello. Eric H526, hello. All right, before we go, let's look at in June 23rd, General Mark Milley was saying, I want to understand a certain social theory. You didn't want to understand the Afghanistan evacuation? You couldn't maybe put two seconds of thought into that? Testifying alongside... it's like, what on earth does this have to do? So what's wrong with having some situational understanding about the country for which... Situational understanding? These are far left theories that don't resonate with most people. They just, it's like public relations. It's all public relations. Janie Langley, thank you! Janie, thank you so very, very much. Thank you. I love the graphic. Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Janie Langley. Thank you. Janie Langley, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. I cannot do this without you. Thank you. Janie, thank you so very much. The question, ladies and gentlemen, Janie, everybody here, are things going to get worse? Are things going to get worse? I really, really fear that things will get worse. I really fear that things will get worse. China Air Force warns away suspected U.S. aircraft on patrol near Taiwan. China sends 19 aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone. I'm going to do a segment on this tonight. I will do a segment on this tonight. I am going to go ahead and I am going to set it up right now as we speak. Let's see if I can do that. It will be at 10:30 tonight. And the title will be China Ready to Invade Taiwan and sends how many aircraft? This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. It's unbelievable. Wow. They are preparing an invasion of Taiwan as we speak. But, I mean, God forbid it happens, but do you blame them? I mean, do you think that they're afraid? I'm not talking about militarily, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not talking about militarily. I'm not into, pushing military confrontations. I think that should be the last resort. I'm not against if you have to retaliate, you retaliate. But I don't want counterinsurgency conflicts, and I don't want something like nuclear annihilation. Call me weird. But when they're sending 19 aircraft into Taiwan's airspace, I think it's pretty much. I think they're pretty much saying that. I think it's pretty much clear that they're either about to invade Taiwan or they're slowly preparing. They're opening up avenues, or they're exploring options. You could say they're exploring options. Do you think they care about, like, do you think they believe that Biden knows what's going on? I mean, do you think they're worried about Biden? You think they're worried about Biden? Would you be if you were Xi of China or Putin or anybody? The whole thing with Trump is that he was unstable. He was going to cause a nuclear annihilation. It's like, no, that if anything, he was unpredictable enough to make them second guess themselves. Okay? If anything, he was unpredictable. This is for 10:30 tonight. Okay? I'm setting it up now. I'll give you the link to it right now. This is for 10:30 tonight. The chat will be on. So, you keep it respectful, but the chat will be on. It's 10:30 tonight. We'll talk about the impending, God forbid, and God bless the people of Taiwan. You think I'm like a Democrat that like gleefully touches himself in ecstasy when governors would tank their states just to spite Trump? No, I don't think that. It's like, I don't want to benefit from other people's suffering, but when you were covering Joe Biden and his merry band of inept imbeciles and highly polished buffoons, it's like, this is serious stuff. It's only the future. And by the way, you're talking about a nuclear confrontation. A nuclear confrontation. You're talking about potential nuclear confrontation. Because they have nukes. So, it's not rocket science. Indy Wood! Let's all do a live marathon. Indy Wood! Well, here is, ladies and gentlemen, here is the link. So the link is there. Indy Wood. We'll go 6 more minutes, and I'll see you at 10:30. This is no joke. This is serious stuff. And they have nuclear. The aircraft they sent were nuclear capable. So they're not like reading. They're not reading. They're the highest officials in China and Russia. They're not reading like Robin DiAngelo and whatever, this theory or that theory. They're not taking like, really wonderful classes at Berkeley. They don't care. They want to win. Like, this has nothing to do with military versus military. We have more nukes. We have a bigger military. It's not about military versus military. It's we have superiority in terms of our military. We cannot use that if they invade Taiwan because of geopolitics, because of the numerous advantages they have just in terms of geography. It's 100 miles away. They also have a very good navy. Okay? And if they get Taiwan, they're closer to the Philippines, South Korea, and Japan. And then they can utilize a lot more leverage in trying to take over islands that are contested. But then again, you don't tell that to the people at The View. They don't care. They care about Trump's tweets. When the ICBMs are above, ladies and gentlemen, Jane and Indy and everybody here, when the ICBMs are above, and it's like Red Dawn, DEFCON 1, I am going to hold a sign, and it's going to say, at least we don't have Trump's tweets. Do you understand? I'm gonna hold a sign. At least we don't have Trump's tweets. He's so mean. Like if Stephen Hawking, God bless him, was alive, he'd be like, you know, even Noam Chomsky and Stephen Hawking and all of them, all of the smart, the number one thing they say, even before climate change was number 2 to them. Number 1 was nuclear annihilation. Nuclear annihilation from Biden. It's like, it's unbelievable. How many nukes? They have more than 200. A nuclear stockpile of more than 200. We have 3,800, but you only need 1 or 2. So, whatever. We have mashed potato brains with a nuclear football. Can you make? Hey, man, come on, man. I need to make a long distance, man. Let me use that phone, man. No, Mr. President, you can't. Yeah, come on, man. Let me use the phone. What is that briefcase? It's you can't touch that. It has our launch codes, Mr. President. Give me the phone. Give it to me. You know. Oh my God, what happened? What happened to the Hunter has it. He left it at a computer repair store. Oh, great. Fantastic. Can you imagine? Could you imagine the Cuban Missile Crisis with Biden? Come on, man. Hey, come on, man, Khrushchev, man. Come on, man. Come on now, cornflakes. Hey, Khrushchev, man. Hey, Khrushchev, man. Come on. I remember. Hey, listen. Hey, mwah, give me a kiss. I remember when I was young and I used to put lotion, man, on my legs, man. And hey, Khrushchev, get those missiles out of Cuba, man. Because you know what I did to cornflakes, man? I showed him. I'll show you too. I'll show you too. Okay? Okay, man? Don't mess with me. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Imagine there's no heaven. Could you imagine? That's the one line of that song. I'm like, why would I don't want to imagine there's no heaven, God. But John Lennon, if John Lennon was alive today, he would not be a fan of Biden. I'm not sure if he would be that much of a fan of Trump, but I'd probably like Trump more than Biden. I don't think he cared really about what people thought of him, John Lennon. Okay, you look at John Lydon, okay, Johnny Rotten, you see, like, he supports Trump. Like, you see all the people who made a name for themselves as being completely independent, and those people who are completely independent in Hollywood or in the music industry, they don't need the industry. They don't need public relations. They're like, yeah, I like Trump. Kanye West, Roseanne Barr. You look at people, John Voight, you look at people who, they've already made it. Like, they're already legends or icons. They don't care. Johnny Rotten, the Pistols, he's an icon. What does he care? He doesn't care. He's going to speak his mind. He doesn't care. He always never cared. Now we've gone from the Pistols and the Ramones to, I just want to tell everyone, we have a band. We have a member of our band who has said that he likes a conservative journalist. We're sorry as a band, and we've excommunicated him from our band. Please forgive us for all the harm we've caused you. And if you want to buy tickets to our Rebel Revolutionary, taking the world by storm, don't care what you think of us tour, please, it's on our website, but we're so sorry. We're so sorry what we did. What our guitarist did. And he put all of our names in the mud. Please, social media, please, golden calf of our ever-descending world into madness. Why, we've gone from the Pistols and the Misfits and, all of these great bands to bands that, oh, please forgive us. God. Well, don't worry. Taiwan's about to be invaded. What more could go wrong? Do you understand if there's a nuclear confrontation? Bumbling Blinken, if they can't evacuate in January and just a basic evacuation, could you imagine we only allowed 3 or 4 different detonations, okay? This is, pat ourselves on the back. This is fantastic. Yeah, we notified them 19 times to leave the city. We've not our fault. And then you'll see Hollywood celebrities. It's true. We notified that city 19 times, okay? So, honestly, we did notify them, and so, it was just a small little nuclear confrontation. God. They will justify anything. Yeah, you know what? A city was wiped off the map, but at least we don't have to look at Trump's emails or Trump's tweets. He's so mean. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. We are heading towards a nuclear confrontation. Hello? Isn't nobody? And we have bumbling Blinken. It's this is we're taking this is Jerry Nadler versus John Jones in the Octagon. This is the 85 Bears against Chuck Schumer's softball team. Do you understand? Do you understand what's going on? We're reading Robin DiAngelo and they're getting ready to invade Taiwan. Oh my God. Our entire country has become one TikTok sermon. Just for the record, okay, I was given ranch dressing with my fries, and if you knew the history of ranch dressing, you'll understand that this country, we should not be giving ranch dressing, okay? And honestly, when you have other types of dressing like ketchup and Tabasco, why would you give ranch dressing when we've all experienced such despicable chapters in U.S. history? So just to let you know, people, meanwhile, the invasion of Taiwan's taking place, and Z is yeah, keep going with the ranch dressing, yeah. And just, show, 20,000 retweets. It goes viral on, no more ranch dressing. That's what they care about. They don't care about anything else. We have Americans left behind that focusing on dressing. We have Americans stranded. They're about to invade Taiwan. We went from GDP of 7% to 3%. It's going to, you're going to trade your Lamborghini for a loaf of bread pretty soon. Okay? Okay? And then Millie is reading books that the curriculum of, equity studies in Berkeley. Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, be here. Be here, ladies and gentlemen, 10:30 tonight. Don't be late. Well, I'll be late. I won't be late. No, I'll be on time. Here is the link again. Let me give you the link again. Be here. The chat is enabled. And could you imagine mashed potato brains getting us out of a nuclear confrontation? I mean, my God. Hey, come on, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to my super chat. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I will try to be actually early. And Paul, thank you. Everybody here, thank you. I took, it's one of the better pictures of mashed potato brains for the next live stream. So I'm telling you, his entire administration looks like a deer in the headlights. His entire, everything, everybody's like, thanks, everybody. I'll see you very soon, 10:30. See you, everybody. God bless. See you at 10:30.